everybody, it's Alexa and welcome back to my channel. For today's episode of What It's Like, I'm going to be talking about what it's like to have ADHD. And as always, please keep in mind that this is a very personal subject and that anything I talk about and say is based on personal experience and personal opinion, and you may or may not agree with that, and that is perfectly fine. And with that being said, let's jump into the video. Something you guys may or may not know about me is that I have ADHD, and I've had ADHD for 16 years now. I was diagnosed when I was 6 years old and in the first grade. When I was younger, I was significantly more energetic than most of the kids around me, and my family, just thought it was my personality. I was a very happy kid, I was an extrovert, I was high strung, and I was just generally very outgoing. And once I got into first grade, I had a hard time sitting in my seat, a hard time focusing on the simplest tasks, and I was just always all over the place. So during parent-teacher conferences, my first grade teacher mentioned to my mom that maybe I should be tested for ADHD. And when she suggested that, she didn't mean it to be in a negative way or in a mean way in any way, but as a teacher, it's something she's familiar with and noticed in me. So I was tested and it came out that I definitely had ADHD. For those of you who don't know what ADHD is, it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder, and essentially just means you're high strung and your brain moves at a mile a minute. After being diagnosed, I was then put on medication, specifically a stimulant. For those of you who are familiar with the world of ADHD and the different medications you can be put on, you know there's Concerta, there's Ritalin, there's Adderall, and a bunch of others. My doctor suggested putting me on a low dose of Concerta, and within a few weeks we noticed a significant difference. I was able to sit in my chair for a longer period than I could before. I was able to control myself, and the best part was that it didn't affect me in any other way. It didn't affect my personality, it didn't affect my mood. I was still the same outgoing, extroverted Alexa that I was before I started taking the medication. Over the years, we definitely had to up my dose a little bit, and once I got to middle school, I was finally plateauing and I was staying at a dose of 54 milligrams of Concerta every day. During my freshman year of college, I had a night class, and I found that it was so difficult to have a night class because it was A, on Monday nights, B, it started at 5 o'clock and didn't get out till 8, and C, my medicine had worn off way before then. So I was also put on a low dose of Adderall, and let me tell you, Adderall and I don't get along. It makes me nuts. It makes me have super big mood swings, it makes me angry, it makes me grumpy, and it just didn't work out. Neither did that class, to say the least. After that, I went back to my normal dose of Concerta every day, and up until a little over a year ago, I was fine at my 54 milligram dose. And then I noticed some big changes. I noticed that when I would take my medicine, I felt like a robot in that I wasn't in control of my body anymore. I felt like I was being controlled by someone else. So I called up my doctor and said, you know what, it has been quite some time since my medication's been adjusted, and now that I'm older, I think I'm starting to grow out of my dose. And I asked her what she thought. And we both came to the decision that we would try lowering my dose. So now I am on 36 milligrams of the Concerta, and I feel much better. So now that I've given you like a lot of background, I'm going to talk about what it's like growing up with ADHD. And let me tell you, it never has been easy. ADHD is one of those things that people hear and automatically go to the negatives about. They hear, oh, she has ADHD, she's different from everyone else, and she's got a lot of energy and can't control herself. And that's completely wrong and not the case whatsoever. And for so long in my life, I looked at ADHD as a bad thing because society tells us that ADHD isn't a good thing and ADHD makes you different from everyone else. And that's not the case at all. And so going back to when I was little, I always perceived ADHD as a bad thing. And for the longest time, up until I was probably in high school, I would beat myself up about having ADHD and how I felt bad for my family and my friends because I wasn't normal and I wasn't like them. Because out of most of my friends, I was the only one with ADHD. Out of my family members, I am still the only one someone with ADHD. And it wasn't until recently that I figured out that, you know, it really doesn't make me any different. It's just something I have and something I probably always will. They say you can grow out of it, but to be honest, I don't think I ever will. So for those of you out there watching this who have ADHD, don't be ashamed of it. Having ADHD is just something you have, and that makes you you. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is ADHD and your personality, because a lot of people say that when you have ADHD, you're an outgoing person, you're an extrovert, you're bubbly, and I am here to tell you that that's not the case. I personally don't think your personality has anything to do with your ADHD. Like I said earlier, when I was younger, I was an extreme extrovert. I was super outgoing, I was crazy, I was bubbly, I would do anything. And fast forward to now, I am 90% introvert. I don't do all the things I used to do when I was little. I am definitely not outgoing. I am still bubbly, and I do have my days where I'm very spunky and outgoing, but for the most part, I keep to myself. And honestly, that has nothing to do with my ADHD. It's just how I've grown. And that just goes to show that you can't label someone based on how they act or appear. Because out in the world, if you were to see me, you wouldn't know that I have ADHD. And to be honest, I bet 90 to 95% of you didn't even know I have ADHD. So just because someone may seem a little more outgoing than others, or high-strung than others, or someone's an introvert and keeps to themselves, based on that, you can't label them as having ADHD or not. As a closing statement for this video, please remember that having ADHD, it's not a bad thing. It's what makes you you. It's something you learn to live with, and that you never know who has it. So with that being said, I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys have any questions related to ADHD or my life growing up with it, leave them down in the comments section and I will do my best to try and answer them. Keep in mind that this is all based off my own personal experience, like I said earlier, and that my experience may be totally different from yours. If you have any suggestions as to other topics you would like me to do for my What It's Like Wednesday videos, be sure to leave those suggestions in the comments down below. I hope you guys liked this video and learned something from it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. While you guys are down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified every time I upload a new video. I really hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!